Hello, hello. So, in today's episode, we are going to talk all about how to get more therapy intro calls on your calendar. Now, this is really the goal of everything that you're doing in marketing is how can we get clients to take that first step with you towards working together? And that first step should be an intro call. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to actually make this easier for clients, how to get more people reaching out, because this is really like a very, very key step to getting more clients on your caseload. So if you are somebody who gets client inquiries from Psychology Today, from the form on your website, from your email, and you are just ghosted when you respond, this episode is going to help a lot. I know oftentimes therapists will go back and forth via email trying to find a time to book an intro call. That can be quite annoying and, again, not super effective. A lot of people end up ghosting, right? And you probably don't even know how many people actually want to book an intro call with you that don't reach out to begin with, right? Like they don't complete that form on your website. They don't send the email. They don't send the Psych Today inquiry because they don't want to go through that hassle of filling out the form or sending an email or knowing what to say. So we are going to talk about strategies that I have found to be super, super effective at increasing my intro call bookings on my caseload and for other therapists' caseload by making it easier for the calls themselves to get booked. So the first thing that's really important to do here is get an intro call scheduler. If you do not already have one, you definitely want to have an intro call scheduler versus relying on clients to, again, fill out a form, email you, reach out in some way. Using an intro call scheduler makes it so much easier for people to move forward with their inquiry when they are considering starting therapy, right? It allows you to set yourself apart. It allows people to take action when they are in that readiness, action focused state of mind. And so we really want to sort of capitalize on that momentum, right? And so we're going to do that by allowing clients to self-schedule a 15-minute free call on your calendar. So there's a lot of different platforms you can do this with. I personally recommend doing it in your electronic health record. I use Jane in my own practice, and I love the way that they have the intro call scheduler set up. You can set lots of different specific preferences if you want to do them over telehealth, if you want to do them via phone, if you want to have specific days and times that are available for intro calls. You can actually have different availability than for typical sessions, which I do recommend doing. Also, side note, it's super helpful. The hardest part of marketing is getting people, the hardest part of running a practice, honestly, is getting people onto your caseload. And so we want to do everything we can to make it as easy as possible. And that's really the framework I want you to take when you are thinking through this intro call episode is how can we make this easier for people? So if we can have more flexibility in your schedule for intro calls, I think that is highly, highly encouraged, right? So maybe you typically don't like to see clients on Fridays. Maybe we can open up some intro call spots on Fridays or for earlier mornings or, at 5 o'clock, even though that's when you typically end your day, we could have one call from 5 to 5:15 or whatever. And we really want to have as many time slots open as possible for intro calls to make it really easy for clients to find the time that works for their schedule. And by allowing clients to self-schedule on whatever intro call platform you're using, it removes this I'll do it later barrier and allows them to take action right away. And I think that this is particularly helpful with clients from Instagram, right? They see something that resonates and they're able to take that next step right away. And it's also really helpful for folks that are finding you from Google or from a directory because they're in that stage where they're considering a lot of different therapists. And, if they have to reach out to a bunch of different people and wait to see who gets back to them, they may lose momentum at that point. They may, only do the intro call with the first or second person who gets back to them. But if you can actually have your calendar set up where they can schedule an intro call with you for, Thursday, you are going to be the first person on their list. They'll honestly probably even stop contacting all these other therapists because they're like, okay, I've checked this box off. I have done this task. I have an intro call scheduled, right? And so I think that it is just super, super helpful. You want to make it as easy as for people to book that call, as easy as possible for people to book that call when they are already in that mindset of acknowledging that they need therapy. And so we are going to do this by using your scheduling link everywhere, right? Everywhere that we can, we want to share your scheduling link. So number one, in your Instagram bio, it should be very clear that you are accepting new clients in whatever state you are licensed in or states you are licensed in. And then when they click your link in bio, there should be the very first button up top should say, book a free 15-minute intro call, in parentheses, accepting new therapy clients in Florida, right? Make it really, really clear for people, what that step is. It's booking a free 15-minute intro call, where it is that they can do it, what they would do it for, like spell it out for them, right? We also want to have it everywhere that we can on your website. So we want to make it super, super clear for clients who are visiting your website that the next step they need to do is book that intro call. So you want to make sure to put that scheduling link, and Jane makes it super easy. You'll have like your specific scheduling link for intro calls. You want to have that scheduling link in the main navigation on your site with a button that stands out and says like contact me or schedule a free 15-minute intro call or get started, right? That is going to open up that scheduler. We want to have it on your contact page as well. So we still want to give people the information of like, here's your email, here's your phone number, here's your, address if you see clients in person. You should still have a contact page, but even above all the information on your contact page, I would have like schedule a free 15-minute intro call, the button to do that, maybe a little blurb about why that's helpful or a good next step. We don't want to like bury it deep down in your contact page. And then we want to have it on your website as well, like lots of other places as well. So like you're going to have lots of buttons throughout your website. Or maybe you're like, this is so me, or schedule a free 15-minute intro call, or let's work together. Have some of these buttons actually open up that intro call scheduler, right? So people can take that next step. Other places we want to share this intro call scheduling link, right? So we want to share it in your Instagram stories regularly. We want to use your Instagram stories to sell. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this on the podcast many, many times, but my Instagram story formula that I love that works really great is sharing a poll to help people like sort of self-identify, yes, this is something I'm struggling with, or yes, this is something I want, or yes, this is something I'm looking for. So maybe the poll is, are you whatever, where do you live? Florida, somewhere else in the US, outside the US, then maybe your next story is where we're going to share the link, right? And so maybe you're like, I'm a therapist accepting new clients in Florida. Like if you live in the same state as me, like I would love to work together and help you with X, Y, and Z. Schedule a free 15-minute intro call here, right? And so by doing that poll, we're sort of like slowing people down. We're helping them, say yes, like I live in Florida, or yes, anxiety is something I struggle with, or yes, I'm looking for a therapist, and then we share that link. I do recommend sharing your intro call link in stories 3 to 4 times a week if you need new clients. You don't have to come off like salesy in stories. You don't always have to do it so directly, but you do want to use stories as an opportunity to connect with your audience, let them know you're happy to chat, let them know that next step and working with you. We have lots of other podcast episodes on selling in stories, so I'm not going to get into that a ton today, but I did just want to mention, like for sure, in terms of sharing an intro call scheduling link, you should be sharing that link in stories 3 to 4 times a week. You want to respond to Psych Today inquiries by sending your scheduling link, right? I would definitely recommend also like being prepared to do this quickly. I think that, when people are doing Psych Today, they tend to reach out to a lot of different therapists. So I would maybe have something saved in your phone, if not definitely on your desktop, where you can just reply easily to emails with a template that's like, hey, thanks so much. I'm accepting new clients. This definitely sounds like something, I specialize in and would be happy to help work on together with you. I'd love to set up a free 15-minute intro call so we can chat and see if we're a good fit. You can get that scheduled on my calendar here. Talk soon, right? I would even also include on Psych Today a call to action at the end of your profile. So like telling people at the end, you get your sort of 3 paragraphs, like, I'm accepting new clients, head to my website and schedule a free 15-minute intro call on my calendar so we can chat about working together, right? Like tell people that next step is schedule a free 15-minute intro call and tell them that they can find that link on your website. I also recommend ending all of your social media posts with a call to action to book an intro call, right? So this can be buried at the bottom of your caption. Most people are not going to read it, but the ones who do it is super helpful. And you're going to need to say it like 1,000 times. So I would tell people, does this resonate? If you're looking for a therapist in Florida, I'm accepting new clients. Schedule a free 15-minute intro call at the link in my bio to get started, right? We are like telling people again and again and again that you are a therapist, where you are licensed, and what the next step for them to take is. Okay. So let's talk about like actual intro call schedulers, like the platform itself. You want your scheduler to be clean, simple, and easy to use, right? You do not want it to feel overwhelming for clients. You don't want it to feel complicated. The whole goal here is that we are taking out barriers of needing to decide, what do I say? How do I start this conversation? What am I supposed to ask her? All of that, by just making it very easy for people to select an appointment. So I do not recommend having like a bunch of questions people have to answer first, or a bunch of forms that they have to fill out in order to get this scheduled. We really want it to be like name, email, and they pick the time. If you really want to add like what state, you could do that. But especially when you are in the beginning stages of trying to get more clients, we want to remove as many barriers as possible. And I know it does not feel like a big deal to answer a question of like, what state do you live in, or what do you want to work on, or whatever. But those are questions you can ask on the call. And every extra button, every extra click people need to take does turn people away, and they just kind of sort of stop and give up on that process. I personally use Jane and love it. Again, it lets me set my availability and lets clients like book the intro calls themselves. And then it's also really nice because like once they become a client, they're already like set up in the platform, right? They're already familiar with it. And so it's really helpful that those two things are like integrated in one place. And I like that there's lots of different like preferences, so you can still have pretty good control over your calendar. You can even embed the Jane scheduler directly onto your site. So that's super helpful, and it is HIPAA compliant and easy to use. Some other popular options, if you're like, I'm not at the stage where I'm having an electronic health record in my business, that's okay. We can do things a little more like DIY in the beginning. I think Calendly tends to be a really popular option as well. I don't think that they are technically HIPAA compliant, but you can double check that and sort of decide, like, is that something that you are okay with because they're not a client yet, or if you're wanting to be extra safe again, I think that Jane is a really good option. But the goal here is really we want to make it as easy as possible for people to book with you, right? It is not too forward to tell people to book an intro call. It is professional. It is convenient for everybody, right? Even thinking about like going out to dinner and stuff, like how much more likely are you when you are sitting on your couch, it's Friday afternoon, you're like, okay, where are we going to dinner tonight? To pick a restaurant where you can actually make a reservation online instead of having to call and see if they have availability, or show up and see if you have to wait for a table, right? Like, this is just how we work. We want ease. We want fast access to things. We don't want to have to call people or email or inquire. And so we want to make that experience like very similar and easy for your clients as well. If you are looking for a electronic health record, if you're looking for an intro call scheduler, if you're like, okay, yes, Kelly, I clearly need to streamline this in my business. What else can I make easier for myself and for my clients? I highly, highly recommend Jane. I have used them for several years now in my practice. They are amazing. I'm going to go ahead and link in the show notes their information, but you can go ahead and schedule like a free demo with their team. You can self-schedule that and make it super easy for yourself, but they can walk you through the platform and show you everything, and you get 2 months free to try that out with my code Kelly2month. So I think that is just a great way to sort of test it, see if you like it, see if it works for you, save yourself a little bit of money and see what the hype is all about. All right, my friends, I hope that this is really helpful. I know that this feels like such a little thing, but I promise you, if you do not already have an intro call scheduler set up, this will absolutely change the number of intro calls that you get per month, even if you do nothing else, even if you don't do a dot of extra work on Instagram, or your search engine optimization, or blogging, or tweaking your Psych Today profile. Just by having this intro call scheduler, I guarantee you are going to get more clients inquiring because you are making it easier for them to take that next step. All right, let me know how this works out for you, and I'm cheering you on for all the new clients always.